It's a Christmas miracle if you're trying to sell a car. The Manheim Used Car Index, which tracks used car prices, has gone up for the second month in a row, which hasn't happened since like last year. It's been partially that's because used car prices were so exorbitant earlier this year. And part of that's just the market's kind of leveling out a little bit, and that's good to see. Used car price drops have been really hard on sellers, partially because they've been such a steep drop, and partially because as humans, we perceive loss as greater than we perceive gain. We're more averse to losing a dollar than we are excited about gaining a dollar. It's literally the reason that money doesn't make you happy. That drop makes you feel really bad. You're like, I'm not making enough money on my car. Well, if this was 2019, you're making incredible money on your car. You just happen to be selling right on the tail end of a bubble, which has burst, quite frankly. If you look at the Manheim Used Value Index, you see that, used car prices kind of go like this, and then during the pandemic, they went like this, and right now, they're right here. They're probably going to keep going down some. But then they'll level out. We've got 2 months of growth, right? That's good. We do think that these 2 months of rise in the Manheim Used Car Index will signify some stability. But we don't think that they mean that we're going to see another spike in used car values. Yeah, it stinks if you're selling, but it's good to have your expectations alongside what the market says. Total used car sales are down 13% compared with last year. But we've also seen used car prices, list prices, coming down as sellers sort of normalize their expectations with what the market is doing right now. So we think that number is actually going to go back up a little bit. I don't know that it's going to shoot 13% up in January, but I think as prices come down and the market levels, I think sales volume will also level. And so hopefully we'll see a little bit of that. It'll be, maybe you won't get record prices for your used car, but it'll be easier to sell a used car as the market sort of figures out what it's going to do for 2023. One of the reasons we're seeing used car prices level out is that new car prices haven't really come back down to earth since the supply chain shortage, right? We were paying so much money for new cars because they just weren't available, which is why used cars were so expensive earlier this year. Because people they couldn't find a car at all. So they're willing to pay above market value for a used car, above new car prices for a used car. And so now we're seeing those prices, the availability come back up, but we're not really seeing new car prices go down. That's because manufacturers, they haven't had to have sales and specials, right? You think about the Honda days, the year-end savings event. It's because demand has been so high for cars. We'll see if manufacturers blink in the new year and decide to start offering those deals. But for the time being, that lack of savings on new cars is spurring a little bit more sales in used cars. So we are continuing to see this overall drop in value for used cars. But that is a drop off of just a wildly inflated price. Here's a great quote. Normally this is not something that you would see in an industry report because it's something that's always been taken as truth, right? In a December report, Cox Automotive chief economist Jonathan Smoke reminded his readers, and yes, despite a period in 2020 and 2021 when used vehicles were increasing in value, automobiles are depreciated assets. Over time, they always have been and always will be depreciating assets. So this is really interesting, is that we're having to remind people that yes, automobiles cost less after you drive them off the lot. They're not an investment property. They are a car, which depreciates quicker than a lot of things. And that's something that has always held true, except for this year. It's easy to see your neighbor sell a car for more than they paid for it and think, oh, well, I should be able to do that too. That was a weird blip on the radar. Used car prices are still unprecedented. These are still higher prices than anyone in their right mind could expect to sell a used car for, 2 or 3 years ago. Here's the hard truth. We're probably going to see used car prices continue to decline through 2023. But these little spikes in December give us a little hope that it's going to be an easy decline. It's not going to be a steep decline like it has been. That said, if you're looking to sell a car this year, you're not going to make more money later. This is sort of the sweet spot, the beginning of the year, while prices have leveled out for a little while. Another thing to note is that if you have a car that hasn't been selling as well, like an SUV or a truck, this is sort of a sweet spot right now for you too, because as gas has gone down and prices have leveled out a little bit, people are seeing interest again in buying larger SUVs and trucks. So if you got a big SUV, Think about selling it right now.